How do you keep the same passion you have?
Good question. Ora vi devo rivelare un segreto.
So now I have to reveal a secret.
Io adoro la festa.
I love a good party.
Il convivio, avere tutti alla stessa tavola.
I love having everyone sitting down at a long table.
I want to know that thing that could get me a hockey stick.
Io ho sempre il primo start, Machiavelli diceva da cosa nasce cosa e il tempo le governa.
Machiavelli said, one thing leads to another and then time takes care of the rest.
Ma io sono sempre rimasto qui.
But I have always just been here.
Io sono il macellaio di Panzano in Chianti.
I am the butcher of Panzano in Chianti.
E la mia giornata è fatta di 13 ore di lavoro tutti i giorni.
And my day is made up of 13 hours of work every day.
La cosa più importante del mio lavoro, del nostro lavoro, è come le parole nella mucca, di far vedere una buona strada.
I think the most important thing about my work is I'm trying to show one good path.
Se la buona strada la facciamo insieme, meglio.
If we do it together, better.
Nella macelleria.
Inside the butcher shop.
Ma avrai una buona strada, avrai visto una buona strada per la tua vita.
But hopefully those that work with me will also have a vision to see a good path for their own lives.
You're a butcher, but you care very much for the animal.
Uccidiamo per nutrire la nostra vita. È la morte dell'animale che nutre la nostra vita. Se non c'è rispetto e responsabilità è inutile.
If there's not respect and responsibility, then it's all not worth it, because what we're talking about is the death of an animal that nourishes our lives.
Meat, wine and rock and roll.
All right. Where are you now?
I'm on the street in Florence, and there's some type of emergency vehicle going by. But yeah, I'm tapping into some restaurant's Wi-Fi just out here on the street. My group is on tour right now, so I've got time.
Yeah. Well, it's fitting that you're in Tuscany right now, because this episode is all Tuscany.
Well, I was with Dario yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we hung out. It was Palm Sunday, and I brought my group to the butcher shop, and it was packed. Man, it's the busiest it's ever been, and I've been there, I don't know how many times, 50, 60, maybe, something like that. But it was Palm Sunday, and it was a market day. So Panzano has their market day on Sunday, so that, like, it was busy, but he was on his game as always. He's great.
Yeah, he's awesome, and his wife Kim was so nice and did such a great job translating and really made it smooth. And man, I couldn't believe it. So when I was cutting this, I kind of got emotional. I was like doing some stuff. I just putting the episode together, and then it just hit me, and I was just like, man, how do you have access to something like this? And like, I never would have thought we would have been able to do something like that. Yeah. It was crazy.
It was very poignant, backing up a little bit, very poignant how she translated for him, and how you could tell they've done that a good bit. And it was just sweet. Mm-hmm. How they were so respectful of each other, and it's a great relationship they have. Mm-hmm. They met, I guess, a little later in life. She already had a couple of children, and he has no blood relatives, so he's the last of 8 generations in that butcher shop. I'm not sure what happens next, but I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. He's full of life.
You're 100% right, and I can't believe we were there. It was just, in the small town of Panzano, he's built a little bit of an oasis, and cares about his hometown. You're going to get to find out about all that. So this is You Gotta Eat number 10 with Dario Cecchini.
I was sitting here trying to think of the first time I came here, and it was 2011, and we were on the long trip with my wife and kids, and it was just the four of us, I believe, and we ate up here, and it was the most amazing restaurant experience I'd ever had. So unique and so original. I'm in the restaurant business for 44 years now. I have like a PhD in restaurants. And this place, I've eaten here probably 60 times. This place, every time I'm in here, still fascinates me and still impresses me. And I know you're a butcher, and I know there's an equal partnership here. And you're always so gracious to defer, but I know there's a good partnership between the two of you. What you do to not only feed people, but to give them joy by sharing your energy and your passion and your enthusiasm through food is something that's very rare in the world. And so Drew and I appreciate your time. You've been traveling, and the fact that you've just gotten back, and you're taking time to share some of both of your experience with us. We appreciate it, and we're grateful. You are the 8th generation or 7th? 7th, 8th?
8.
Was your grandfather a butcher when you were a young boy?
No, il mio nonno purtroppo è morto un anno prima che io nascessi.
No, unfortunately, my grandfather died a year before I was born.
Oh, okay.
E il mio babbo mi diceva sempre che sarei stato il bambino più viziato del mondo se il mio nonno fosse stato vivo.
My father always told me that I would have been the most spoiled child ever if my grandfather had been still alive.
E io ho il nome del mio nonno. Il mio nonno si chiamava Dario.
My grandfather's name was Dario. I was named for him.
Oh, wow.
What is your earliest memory of your father in the butcher shop as a young boy?
Non è un mio ricordo il primo, perché io sono nato in casa come era, sono del 1955.
I was born in 1955 in our home, and so this isn't exactly my first memory of my father.
Ma la mia mamma mi raccontava che la prima persona che ho visto, sono nato alle 5 del pomeriggio, e la prima persona che ho visto era il mio babbo, che ha attraversato la strada, la casa era di fronte, con la giacca da macellaio.
So my mother told me that the first person I would have seen, the first person I saw after I was born, was my father in his butcher's jacket, who he had crossed the street to come see how things were going, because the butcher shop was in front of our home.
E quando avevo 3 anni, il mio babbo mi portava con la Vespa, perché avevamo una Vespa, non la macchina, dai contadini a comprare gli animali vivi, e quelli sono i primi ricordi.
My first memories are of riding on our Vespa. We didn't have a car, we had a Vespa, with my father to visit the farmers who were growing our animals.
Il primo ricordo non è visivo, ma è un odore.
And maybe my first memory isn't something I saw, but something that I smelled.
Ed era l'odore della stalla.
And that was the scent of the barns.
Nice.
Era quello l'odore che per me è rimasto l'odore della campagna viva.
And that is the scent that I have the deepest memories of
L'humus.
the countryside.
L'humus.
And was that in Spain?
No.
No,
That's here.
questo era qui intorno, era un'altra epoca.
This was olden times. This was way back. This was all here.
C'erano le famiglie dei contadini che allevavano animali, non c'era solo vino e olio.
Our animals came in those days. My father got animals from the farmers from around here.
Mm-hmm. And now I believe they come from Spain. Is that correct?
Ora vengono dalla Spagna,
Sì,
giusto?
certo.
Yeah.
Alleviamo, o meglio, c'è una famiglia che alleva per noi.
Yes, there's a family of ranchers that raise our animals in Spain.
Vacche libere nel Parco Nazionale dei Pirenei.
They're cows that are raised free to roam in the National Park of the Pyrenees.
Vita felice per noi, per loro, e vita felice per noi.
A happy life for them is a happy life for us.
You're a butcher, but you care very much for the animal and the dignity of the animal, and you don't always see that. Why is that so important to you?
Sei un macellaio e ci tieni alla dignità dell'animale, è una cosa che non si vede sempre. Perché è importante per te?
Uccidiamo per nutrire la nostra vita. È la morte dell'animale che nutre la nostra vita. Se non c'è rispetto e responsabilità, è inutile.
If there's not respect and responsibility, then it's all not worth it, because what we're talking about is the death of an animal that nourishes our lives. So
La mia idea è che si deve uccidere solo il necessario e gli animali devono avere avuto una vita felice.
my idea is that we have to kill only just as much as is necessary, and that it's important that the animal has had a good life.
Questa è la mia filosofia, ma è quello che ho imparato dalla mia famiglia.
This is my philosophy, but it's a philosophy that I learned from my family.
Devo dire la verità, mi sembra molto normale fare così.
Actually, to tell the truth, this seems like a pretty normal thing that one should do.
But it's not. In America, the more the years go and advance, the further we get away from that. And again, why it's so important we have people like you who carry that tradition on.
Io credo che la vita è un viaggio
I believe that life is a voyage,
e che si deve onorare il viaggio e anche la fortuna della salute e di essere vivi.
and we have to honor that voyage, and also our great luck to still be here alive.
Puoi scegliere se diventare il più ricco del cimitero
You can choose if you want to be the richest man in the cemetery,
o cercare di migliorare un po' la situazione
or if you want to just make things a little bit better than you found them,
per lasciare un po' meglio il mondo a chi viene dopo.
to leave the world a little bit better for who comes after us.
Vivere in un piccolo villaggio nella Toscana e vivere in una maniera abbastanza isolata.
Living in a little village in Tuscany is living somewhat isolated.
E quando spiego il nostro lavoro, mio, di Kim e di tutta la squadra,
And when I explain our work, mine, Kim's, our teams,
è come avete presente di mettere un messaggio dentro una bottiglia e gettarla in mare.
it's kind of like, you know, that idea of putting a message in a bottle and just throwing it out to sea.
Speri che un giorno qualcuno trovi la bottiglia e legga il messaggio.
You hope one day someone will find the bottle and read the message.
I think that has happened many times over here,
È già successo.
as we see
Tante
people
volte.
from all over the world.
Sì, è successo, ma è successo dopo tanti anni.
Yeah, you're right. The word has spread, but it has spread after many years.
Oh, it's not an overnight.
Io non ho mai perso la strada e perso la speranza. Sono 50 anni e 6 mesi che faccio questo lavoro da solo.
I've never lost hope, and I've never lost my path. In fact, it's 50 years and 6 months now that I have been a butcher.
So initially, you wanted to be a veterinarian, I'm told. Is that correct? What was it that made the change from? Did you get into veterinarian school and leave, or did you finish, or how did you get from being a veterinarian to a butcher?
Ho lasciato,
Gli studi.
ho lasciato a metà perché la mamma era già morta e il babbo è stato ricoverato in ospedale. Non c'era altra possibilità di sopravvivere.
I had to stop studying because my mother had passed away already, and my father became ill and passed away when I was in the middle of my university studies. There was no choice. I had to come back home.
Ma i miei studi di veterinaria
But my veterinary science studies
era il mio spirito di aiutare le persone più semplici.
my idea was to help people who were
I contadini.
The farmers around us.
Perché il veterinario è il dottore più vicino ai contadini, non solo per gli animali.
Oftentimes, a veterinarian is not only the doctor for the animals in those days, but also the doctor for the family.
Io mi sono fatto curare dal mio veterinario fino a 28 anni.
Until I was 28, the person that helped me with my health dilemmas was my veterinarian.
Il veterinario è il dottore che aiutava le famiglie più semplici, le famiglie più umili, per gli animali e per quello che c'era bisogno.
In the past, that's how it was here.
So you were around 20 years old when you came back to the butcher shop, right?
20
Correct?
anni, sì, qualcosa di meno, 20 anni.
Not quite 20.
There was no restaurant then.
Non c'era bisogno del ristorante,
There was no need for a restaurant back then.
perché quando io ho iniziato non c'era bisogno di spiegare tutto il manzo.
In those days, there was no need to explain every part of the animal.
C'erano tagli più costosi e tagli meno costosi, ma le mamme sapevano, le donne di casa sapevano benissimo cosa comprare.
There were more expensive cuts, there were less expensive cuts, but the women mostly who were purchasing the cuts were choosing them according to their needs.
Chi aveva più soldi comprava bistecche, chi aveva meno soldi comprava il resto.
People with more money bought the steaks, people with less money bought the rest.
L'apertura dei ristoranti è stata una necessità,
The opening of the restaurants was a necessity much later.
perché si era rotto questo senso nella famiglia.
Because over time, we broke that system of people who bought more expensive cuts and people who, out of necessity, were buying less expensive cuts.
Mississippi, where I'm from, where we're from, is an agrarian society. Tuscany is an agrarian society. Mississippi is cotton and soybean, and Tuscany mostly grapes and olives. But it's my thought that in agrarian societies, we typically, because of the income level, make use of the lesser cuts. So Mississippi is similar to, I believe, your philosophy, and the lesser cuts are some of the more interesting and forgotten about parts of the animal.
Nel Mississippi, da dove vengo io, è una società agraria, come qua.
Sì.
E allora noi ancora abbiamo ricette e usi per le parti più semplici.
Bene, meno male.
He agrees.
Ma l'apertura del ristorante è dovuta anche a un'altra ragione fondamentale.
But opening the restaurant was also due to another important reason.
C'è stato in questi 50 anni un fortissimo cambiamento sociale.
In the last 50 years that I've been working as a butcher, there's been a big change in society.
Nella tradizione la moglie lavorava in casa,
In the olden days, the wife worked at home
il marito guadagnava soldi per la famiglia.
and the husband earned money from outside of the home.
Ma ora è normale che tutte le famiglie lavora la moglie e lavora il marito, è stato questo il cambiamento.
These days, things have changed, and it's more normal that both husband and wife are working outside of the home.
Per cui la variabile è stata il tempo a disposizione per la famiglia.
So the variable that changed was time that a family had at disposition to cook.
Perché è rimasta fortissima una memoria delle ricette più semplici,
There definitely still is a deep memory of the simpler recipes,
ma mancava il tempo.
but we no longer had time to invest in making them.
E allora abbiamo cercato di aprire un ristorante che faccia buon cibo a buon prezzo anche per il tempo che manca nelle famiglie.
So I sought to open a restaurant that does good food at a good price and maybe uses those recipes that take more time to bring the best out of a cut of meat.
What year was that where he first opened the restaurant?
2006,
2006,
2006.
14 luglio,
14th of July.
un giorno di rivoluzione.
So
A revolutionary day.
Era il primo ristorante, il primo macellaio che apriva un ristorante in Italia.
I think I might have been the first butcher to open a restaurant in Italy.
Ma in realtà non è un ristorante,
But in reality, it's not a restaurant.
è una mensa nel termine alto latino.
It's in the High Latin form, mensa, which means a cafeteria.
no, I don't think so. No.
Cafeteria. It absolutely is a high form of
Okay,
what happens in a
okay.
cafeteria?
Che
What happens in a cafeteria? You go with your plate. You see what is available.
That's
They
fair.
put it on your plate. You go sit down, you pay, and you eat what they're offering. What happens at Solo Chicha?
Yeah, true.
You eat what Dario is offering.
Right.
You don't order from a menu of 40 items.
And that to me, as a restaurateur, is part of the brilliance and the luxury that I'm envious of, because you know exactly how many people you're going to serve. You know exactly what you're going to serve them. You not only are you going to have zero waste because you use everything, but you're going to have zero waste because you know the exact number you're going to feed that day. It's brilliant.
Ma c'è da dire anche una cosa.
There's another thing.
Ci sono delle ricette nel manzo,
There are recipes for beef,
tipo il musetto,
like musetto, head cheese,
che non ha una ragione economica.
that doesn't have an economical reason for being.
Il tempo che impieghiamo a prepararlo,
The time that it takes us to prepare it,
il costo delle ore,
the cost of the hours that it takes my team
è
to prepare it,
superiore a quello che ricaviamo.
is higher than the cost of what we make back.
Quindi per la mentalità contemporanea è un paradosso,
So for a contemporary mentality, that's a paradox.
ma per la nostra filosofia è solamente l'etica di usare tutto bene.
But for my philosophy, it falls into the ethics of using every part well.
Amen.
Che la nostra etica è la morte dell'animale che nutre la nostra vita.
Because my ethics boil down to it is the death of an animal that nourishes our lives.
La nostra forma di ringraziamento è usare tutto bene.
And our way of showing our thanks is to use every part well.
C'è una cosa molto interessante in questo disegno che rappresenta il nostro percorso.
There's something interesting in this drawing that illustrates my path.
Dentro la mucca
Inside my cow,
io ho lavorato tutti gli animali possibili,
and I've worked every animal you can imagine.
polame, agnello,
Chicken, sheep, beef, pork.
maiale. Negli ultimi anni mi sono concentrato sulla mucca perché era il dilemma più difficile.
In the later years, I've concentrated on beef because it's the biggest dilemma.
Dentro la mucca ci sono le prime parole della Divina Commedia.
Inside my cow, you'll find the first couple of lines of Dante's Divine Comedy.
Nel mezzo del cammin di nostra vita mi ritrovai per una selva oscura che la diritta via era smarrita. Ecco, l'idea è che il poeta ha perso la strada giusta.
The gist of these couple of lines are where the poet is explaining how he has lost his path in a dark wood, in a dark forest.
E si trova in un momento di buio dove non vede la direzione.
And he finds himself in a moment of darkness where he cannot see the correct path.
Per la nostra vita diventa usare tutto bene, è una metafora anche per essere nella strada giusta.
For me, my path is seeking to find my way to using every part well.
Credo che si possa essere nella strada giusta con ogni tipo di lavoro.
I think any kind of work can always be boiled down to finding the best path.
Questa è la nostra strada.
And this is our path.
So you've been a butcher for 50 years. How do you keep the same passion you have when you start?
Good question.
Allora, ora vi devo rivelare un segreto.
So now I have to reveal a secret.
Io adoro la festa,
I love a good party.
il convivio, avere tutti alla stessa tavola,
I love having everyone sitting down at a long table.
fare cibo per la comunità,
I love cooking for my community,
non fare cibo per le stelle, ma fare cibo per la comunità.
not cooking for stars, but
Ma-
cooking for my people.
Quando c'è la festa,
And so when there's a good party,
tu hai un potere enorme,
you have an incredible power,
forse il potere più enorme del mondo.
maybe the best power in the world, the biggest power.
Hai la possibilità di dare felicità a chi è alla tua tavola.
You have the opportunity to give happiness to the people at your table.
Per quelle 2 ore, 3 ore,
For those 2 or 3 hours,
le persone possono avere una gioia perfetta.
those people can experience a perfect joy.
Tutti i problemi rimangono fuori dalla porta.
The problems, all of our problems, stay outside of the front door.
Se sei bravo ad organizzare la festa, a offrire buon cibo e a mettere gioia nelle persone.
If you're good at organizing a good party, creating good food, and giving joy to people.
Dopo l'incantesimo finisce,
After that, the spell breaks.
ma rimane la memoria
But maybe our guests have good memories of
di
that
aver
moment,
avuto un'esperienza felice.
of having had a happy experience.
Non ci sono soldi che possono pagare questo.
Money can't buy that.
È per questo che i nostri prezzi sono e rimarranno prezzi per la comunità.
And that's why our prices are and remain prices that are affordable for many.
Per dare a più persone possibili l'accesso a 2 ore di gioia.
To give as many people as possible access to a couple of hours of joy.
È molto differente il nostro lavoro dal lavoro dello chef.
Our work is very different from the work of a chef.
Per lo chef il piatto è il fine del lavoro.
For a chef, the final dish is the end of their work.
Un piatto perfetto
A
è la
perfect
fine
dish
del lavoro.
is their goal.
Per noi il cibo è solo il mezzo, e deve essere buono, per il convivio.
For me, food is the means to create a convivial atmosphere.
Convivio nel latino è convivere, vivere insieme, non solo mangiare.
Convivio in Latin means it breaks down to cum vivere, which means living together. It's not just food, it's the act of being together.
Quando sei alla nostra tavola, sei parte di una comunità, da qualsiasi parte del mondo vieni.
When you're at our table, you're part of a community no matter where you come from in the world.
Wow.
Amen. Same. I feel the
Sulla
same way.
stessa pagina, ci penso anch'io.
I would like to ask Kim what she remembers how you first met.
Voglio chiedere a Kim come si ricorda quando vi siete conosciuti per la prima volta. What do I remember from when we first met? I had some friends coming from California who had heard of a crazy butcher. I'd been living here for 15 years. I also knew about this butcher out in the town of Panzano. I was in Florence. And I said, sure, I'll take you. I know how to go to a butcher. But it turns out I didn't know how to go to a butcher. I didn't know that he was only open until 3. So actually, I sort of made them wait until I thought he would be, opening again for the afternoon.
What year are we talking about?
We're talking about 2003. And so when I brought my friends to this butcher, the shop door was closed except for that 3 inches they leave when they're closed but not quite closed,
Right.
you know, that. And so I said, we have a friend in common. I had to use all my powers, you know, that I had to get him to open up again because my friends had come foreign. We wanted to buy steak. I didn't know that you had to order them ahead. I didn't know anything about anything. So he grumpily opened the door, and he was gruff and nearly rude, and I don't even remember. I think we got a steak, but we definitely got the boneless steak that he sold you when you hadn't followed the rules to get the T-bone steak.
You're in trouble.
And that was the day that we met. Yeah.
What about the first date? How did that happen?
The first date was a day that we bumped into each other in Florence and decided that it was a good idea to go out to dinner. And he said, "Where would you like to go?" And I mentioned this vegetarian restaurant that I'd heard about. So I kind of just, I don't know. I knew and I didn't know that it was a challenge to have Dario Cecchini walk into a Florentine vegetarian restaurant. A challenge for him, maybe a challenge for them as well.
Then?
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
So how did he take it?
I don't remember thinking it was the challenge that perhaps it actually
I'm
was.
guessing he was more interested in the company than he was what was on the meal.
It was a beautiful restaurant that isn't open anymore. It was a beautiful restaurant, actually. But that was our first date.
That's amazing.
How long was the courtship?
Nothing.
It was nothing. It was just
It
immediate.
was, yeah. Quanto è stato il corteggiamento? Niente.
È stata una buona cosa, no?
Sì, è stata una buona cosa. No, ci siamo trovati subito, ecco. Yeah, no, it was,
22 anni fa.
well, 22 years ago.
And what is your first memory of Kim? And when did you know she was the person for you?
Qual è il tuo primo ricordo di me quando hai saputo che ero la persona per te?
Come il primo ricordo, non ho capito.
Quando ci siamo conosciuti, cosa ti ricordi? Quella volta che sono venuta con gli amici a comprare la bistecca.
Quando sei venuta con gli amici a comprare la bistecca, eri una delle ragazze più belle che avevo mai visto. E in un momento in cui ero solo e ho detto vaffanculo, porca puttana.
He said,
I want to hear this.
he said,
No. I know those words, but I want to hear it.
he said when
rabbia,
I
era
walked
troppo
into
bella.
the shop, he said that I seemed to him one of the most beautiful women he had ever seen, and that it was a moment of turmoil for him because he didn't imagine there was any possibility, and so that's why he had a couple of choice swear words. Then.
Lei è bellissima, ha la sua vita, io sono qui solo a cazzo. Peccato.
There she is. She's beautiful, but unattainable.
So,
Turns out I wasn't unattainable.
in your childhood in California, was it a dream as a young girl to live overseas, to live in Italy? Was this ever part of the plan, or is this just kind of happened organically and here you are? Obviously, the last 20 some odd years, but was
The
Italy?
last 40 some odd years.
Yeah, that's right. You were in Florence for a
35
while.
years. No. I come from a family of adventurers. I come from a family of people who love food. My mother taught French cooking. My dad taught French in high school. He was a high school teacher. They traveled a lot to Europe, but it was quite French-oriented, Francophile-oriented. I have 3 siblings, and each of them did a study abroad year or summer. I was like, forget about that. I wasn't interested at all. I ended up studying Italian by chance at university, along with my art history studies in California, and When I graduated from university, it seemed like I didn't quite know what I was going to do, so I came to Italy to study Italian, see if art history and Italian sort of added up to something. So that was just a chance that I took, and I basically ended up staying. I enjoyed Italy. I met a nice guy, married him, had a couple kids, separated from him, and met Dario. That's the nutshell version.
When you opened the restaurant in 2006, was this was the first dining room?
Questo era la prima
here.
sala, solo qui?
Sì.
No.
No.
Cioè, questo è arrivato dopo.
Absolutely, this was not the
il
first.
primo ristorante era il Solo Ciccia. Questo è arrivato un anno dopo.
No, the first restaurant dining areas that were created in 2006 were across the street with the name Solo Ciccia and the menu Solo Ciccia.
Okay.
Era un menù.
Era un menù di famiglia
three floors?
senza, era solo per 50 posti,
It was 50 seats. It was 2
due
floors.
piccole sale, ora è più grande, ed era solamente per la metà della settimana, da giovedì alla domenica pranzo.
It was only open from Thursday to Sunday. Era un menù fatto per che cosa?
Era il menù per usare meglio i tagli semplici, era un menù senza bistecca ed erano le ricette di famiglia fatte con la mia cuoca, che c'è ancora, la Simonetta.
Solo Ciccia across the street was created with a specific menu and a specific purpose in mind. There was no steak on that menu, as there basically is still today no steak on that menu. It was a menu created from my grandmother's recipes, from recipes that I developed with my cook Simonetta, and my recipes that I had developed over the years. Specifically to use the cuts that were the ones people were no longer shopping for.
Speaking of cuts, I want to ask, which is your favorite? Can you pick a favorite?
Ce la fai a scegliere un taglio preferito?
Sono due le ricette, che sono i tenerumi in insalata, cioè i ginocchi bolliti.
Two recipes come to mind from two cuts, or let's see. One cut is the beef knees, and the recipe that I make from that is tenerumi in insalata.
Ma in realtà
A
sono
warm
due,
beef salad.
sono due, ma è una ricetta sola, perché con i tenerumi che avanza si fa la francesina.
With the boiled beef knees that are left after making the warm beef salad, I make another recipe, and that is called francesina.
Io credo onestamente i tenerumi in insalata con una bella tazza di brodo era la ricetta che mi faceva la mia nonna.
My grandmother made me that warm beef salad with a cup of broth on the side, and that was something very special
E quando
to me.
poi avanzavano, sempre la mia nonna faceva la francesina.
And when there was boiled beef left over, my grandmother again would make francesina, come la
Se
francesina.
mi devo riconoscere in una ricetta che mi rappresenta, ma rappresenta anche la memoria della mia famiglia, la francesina è superiore a tutte le bistecche e a tutti i filetti e a tutte le altre ricette del mondo.
I think if I have to choose a recipe that represents me, my family, it would be francesina, which is a dish that is superior to any steak in the world.
Devi mangiare una sola cosa tutta la vita, francesina.
If you had to eat only one thing for the rest of your life, for me it would be francesina, come fatta.
È il lesso che avanza,
So you
la
take the
carne
boiled
bollita,
beef that's left over.
generalmente il muscolo, lo shank,
Usually we're talking about
con cipolle e pomodori.
And you braise it again in onions and tomatoes.
Francesina è insuperabile.
It's unsuperable. What's the word? What's the word? What I'm looking for? I can't.
Superb.
It's you can't make anything better than that.
Yeah.
You can't top it.
Right. Got it.
Yeah.
What year did you hit this next level? You know, I would say you are at an amazing level now with 100 people in the street waiting for lunch and coming here. People from all over the world. When you first opened, you had the 2-floor dining room. When did it do that? When did that hockey stick? And what was it? Obviously, other than obviously the quality of the food and the experience, but there was something that connected in the world.
Cosa c'era che nel mondo ha fatto spargere la voce?
Forse la prima persona.
It's a posso?
Sì.
It's really a snowball effect. I know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
I know the answer you're looking for, I think. But really, nothing happens overnight. It's at least not in Dario's case. Kim thinks. It's a snowball effect. Dario was here as a butcher since 1975, 1980, 1983, 85. Just trying to be a butcher in a small town. One day, an American journalist named Faith Willinger walked up the street. She was always on the lookout for artisans, food artisans in Italy. It was her specialty to write about food artisans in Italy way back then.
Yeah.
And she included Dario in a book, and she included Dario in an article, and then other journalists, Jonathan Gold from the LA Times came and included Dario in an article there, and then other journalists, other restaurateurs, people who traveled for food who would come to an interesting butcher shop. That's a small,
I get it.
interesting
No, I get it.
level. Exactly. You would have come to a butcher shop
100%.
you heard about. So the word was getting out. Then maybe a television crew heard about Dario, and so they would come from Japan or they would come from the US. And then people in Japan or the US or Canada, food people would come from those countries. Then vado avanti, posso? Bill Buford wrote a book called Heat, and that got attention from people who read bestsellers.
Yeah.
And they would come. This was after Dario had opened his first restaurant. His first restaurant widened the circle of people who would not just come for a butcher shop, but would go to a restaurant.
Right.
That's a wider circle of people who would visit a place, and it was snowballing. Then Anthony Bourdain did a bit, and then David Rocco from Canada did a bit, and then etc.
So I didn't have an answer in mind. I was asking from a restaurateur standpoint because from my standpoint, this, for somebody who studies restaurants, this is just, it's so impressive what you and your team, because I know it takes a team, have done. So it's really from a place of, I want to know that thing that could get me a hockey stick. That was it. It was no other reason.
Io ho sempre il primo start, Machiavelli diceva da cosa nasce cosa e il tempo le governa.
Machiavelli said, one thing leads to another and then time takes care of the rest.
Il primo start è stato, la prima cosa è stata sicuramente la Faith.
Surely the beginning was Faith Heller Willinger's attention to what I do.
Che è ancora, dopo più di 40 anni, il mentore della macelleria.
Who still, after 40 years, is a mentor of mine.
Perché è la sorella maggiore.
Because she's like my older sister now.
È così diventata in tutto questo percorso.
That's what she became over the last 40 years.
Era un percorso solo professionale, era un percorso d'affetto.
Not just professional, but she is also our friendship is deep.
Ma io sono sempre rimasto qui.
But I have always just been here.
Io sono il macellaio di Panzano in Chianti.
I am the butcher of Panzano in Chianti.
E la mia giornata è fatta di 13 ore di lavoro tutti i giorni.
And my day is made up of 13 hours of work every day.
Questo che
I'm sorry to say, I think that's the answer.
No, it is.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was about to say, because people, a journalist may come here and think it's the show and it's the stuff. What it is the hard work and the passion and the team that works every day. And that's the thing, because I've been coming here for years, and there have been twice. I've been here over 60 times, I believe. Twice. You haven't been here, but it's not because you were on vacation. It's because you were overseas working and then coming right back. So I 100% get it. That's why that's what I know, that it's not the show, it's the work and the passion.
C'è da dire una cosa importante.
I need to say something important.
Il villaggio di Panzano, la comunità del mio piccolo villaggio,
The community of my tiny town of Panzano
ha permesso alla mia famiglia di vivere per 7 generazioni.
has allowed my family to survive here for 7 generations.
E anche alla
8
mia, che sono
generations,
l'8ª.
and my generation as well.
Quando noi lavoriamo fuori,
When we go out,
lo spirito del lavoro non è di portare il lavoro fuori,
the spirit isn't to take work out,
ma di portare le persone dentro il villaggio.
it's to go out and bring people back
Yes,
to our village.
Che con il nostro lavoro possono dormire a Panzano, prendere un gelato, un caffè, danno vita alla comunità.
Because with our work, people will come here and they'll give life to our community. They'll have an ice cream. They'll sleep in a bed and breakfast.
Ma soprattutto tutti i giovani di Panzano che hanno bisogno di un lavoro
But more than anything, all the kids in Panzano who need a job
normalmente trovano un lavoro qui,
almost always can find a job here.
crescono qui
They grow up here.
e anche quando decidono di lasciare la macelleria, la famiglia della macelleria rimane sempre un legame molto forte.
And even if they decide to move on, their family ties here, let's say, remain strong.
Perché partono con degli strumenti che gli permettono di vivere bene anche da un'altra parte.
Because they learn skills here that allow them to live well elsewhere.
È un lavoro sociale anche.
It's a social work as well.
Tanti lavorano qui, entrano a 16 anni.
Lots of young people work here. They start working at 16 years old.
You have success. Well, overnight success in 50 years, right?
Hai un successo lampante in 50 anni.
Right. But you have success because you aren't necessarily looking for the success.
Hai successo perché magari non lo cerchi.
You do what's right, and then the rest, like you said, the rest follows. Is that something that you want to impart on the younger generation? Because we talk about tradition, how many generations. There's so much history here in Italy, and especially Tuscany. What you want the younger generation to take from your work and your life.
La cosa più importante del mio lavoro, del nostro lavoro, è come le parole nella mucca, di far vedere una buona strada.
I think the most important thing about my work is I'm trying to show one good path.
Se la buona strada la facciamo insieme, meglio,
If we do it together, better.
nella macelleria.
Inside the butcher shop.
Ma avrai una buona strada, avrai visto una buona strada per la tua vita.
But hopefully those that work with me will also have a vision to see a good path for their own lives.
Perché quella è la cosa più importante.
Because that's the most important.
Non è importante la gloria, la fama, fa piacere.
Glory and recognition certainly it's nice.
Ma ti devi sempre preparare nella vita che può venire una malattia oppure può cambiare il vento.
But you always have to remember health doesn't always hold out. The winds can change.
Ma rimani nella tua buona strada.
But if you are following the path that you believe in.
Wow. Beautiful.
I'm 64. I get my mother, who passed away last year, always asked, "When are you going to retire? When are you going to retire?" Other people ask. In America, it's kind of a thing. It's 65 you retire. I never plan to retire. I hope to be working. I hope to make 100 and open my 30th restaurant, and then just go to sleep. What are your plans in the future for the two. Do you ever? Are you of that mindset, or is there a point in time where you say, it's?
È successo 3 anni e mezzo fa.
3.5 years ago.
3 anni e mezzo fa sono andato in pensione.
I reached the age of pensionable age.
Ma non me ne sono accorto.
But I didn't notice.
Io spero di continuare il cammino fino a che ho forza e la passione è con me.
I hope I can follow my path as long as I have strength and the passion is with me.
Yep, that's it.
Così.
We ask everyone these 2 questions. I'm a musician, obviously, food genius, but I think I know the answer to this question. But what is the last song you listened to?
Qual è l'ultima canzone che hai ascoltato?
L'ultima canzone che ho ascoltato è Hells Bells degli
AC/DC.
Meat, wine and rock and roll.
Nice. That's it.
Got it.
So growing up, I want to ask for both of you. This is for I'm going ladies first.
Okay, prima le donne.
You're a young girl,
Yes, I am.
teen years. It's your birthday. Assuming your mother did the cooking. She says, Kim, it's your birthday. I'm cooking you whatever you want. What is your favorite dish your mother
that's
cooked
easy.
for you?
Absolutely, I've got it. Supreme de volaille à la Sandeman. My mother.
Nice.
My mother. Does
a
that ring a
dish.
bell?
We haven't had that answer yet.
No, I'm sure you
First time.
haven't. I told you my mother was an amazing cook. She grew up in Nebraska, and she just had. She actually was a home economics teacher in her youth, and then she moved on to study French cooking in France. And my favorite dish was chicken breast, supreme de volaille. My French is horrible, but there you go. À la Sandeman, which is port in a cream port sauce with red peppers.
Wow.
Nice.
Gives me chills. I haven't had it in so long.
So, Dario, you've mentioned your grandmother's favorite meal. What about your mother? What does she make for you to celebrate your birthday?
La lasagna con la carne che la mamma faceva 3 volte l'anno, tirava la pasta, faceva la besciamella e metteva il ragù di carne.
It was lasagna that my mother made 3 times a year. She rolled out the fresh pasta. She made a meat sauce and bechamel.
No, I get it.
Non mangio quasi mai la lasagna perché è sempre lontana dal sapore della mamma.
I hardly ever eat lasagna these days because it's always so far from the flavor that I remember of my mother's dish,
La tengo nel cuore.
which I keep in my heart.
Oh, beautiful.
Beautiful.
We had it yesterday.
Yeah.
That same Trattoria Mario, we take our guests downstairs and they make it for us because it's easy to feed a group. And that's what it is. It's bechamel.
Yeah.
In America, we over cheese, we over red sauce. It's all that. That is meat sauce with a little chicken liver
Oh, yum, yeah. The
and
best.
bechamel, maybe a little tomato paste. And a little bit of cheese, but not much.
Delicious.
So good.
Ma sai, la cucina toscana rispetto a tante cose che si mangiano in America è un po' differente perché la cucina toscana cerca l'equilibrio.
Tuscan cuisine, different from Italian foods that you might find in America. Tuscan cuisine really looks for a balance.
Sì. In America c'è questa storia che too much is better.
If a little is good, a lot is better. Yeah, that's the American way.
Quando prendo un giornale,
When I open a
a
newspaper,
me quello che mi colpisce sempre
I always note
è la pizza americana, il triangolo di pizza.
is that triangle of American.
C'è la
pizza
fotografia che questo tira su il triangolo di pizza e rimane tutti i fili di formaggio.
that you lift and all of the cheese.
Yeah.
Too much.
It's good for commercials.
Capito? Perché
thank you for your time.
Yes, thank you.
It's a
This means a lot.
pleasure.
This means so
I
much.
hate that the scheduling worked out, that you're just here, and it means more to us though that you worked a full day after traveling for 12 days and then took time to visit with us. It means a lot.
Per me il tempo è nutrimento, per cui stare insieme è un nutrimento reciproco.
For me, time with my friends is something that nourishes me, so spending time with you has nourished me.
And let me say this, and I don't know if he'll remember this, but we were here a few years ago, and when I brought my group in from behind the butcher's block, he said, Robert St. John is a spiritual member of our family. And it was the most meaningful thing ever said to me in a restaurant. It meant so much to me, and it still does. And I think of that every time I'm here. And so it's very special to me, and thank you.
Ma è la verità.
And I feel the same way.
It's the truth.
Yeah. Grazie.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Drew.
Ricordatevi sempre
Remember always
il potere di dare felicità.
that we have this power to give happiness.
Yes.
Questa è la magia.
That's the magic.
Questo è il mondo, il cibo per dare felicità.
This is the world of food. That's what we get to do.
I have something for each of you, and what I've learned over life that I didn't realize until really in the last decade is that you just keep pushing forward and you just keep moving onward. And so that's why I want you to have
Onward.
this. Is it okay?
Certo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, nice. Nice. Onward.
Amazing.
Onward. Ever onward, moving forward.
Oh, it's amazing.
Nice.
That's a wonderful motto, actually. Absolutely.
Beautiful.
So I think we have a photo actually of the Onward hat in the butcher shop, or you got your book in there too.
When I brought my group in there, yes, I'd totally forgotten that I gifted him a copy of the book. You know, it was November. It was right before Christmas. And I totally forgot. And I brought my group in there yesterday. And one of them said, "Hey, it's you." And I thought, oh, man, I'm up on the shelf with a bunch of other Italian chefs' cookbooks. That was kind of cool. I had totally forgotten about that. So, hey, I guess I could have picked a more picturesque spot to do this thing, but it's good internet. So
Yeah. Well, it is what it is. You're definitely on the move, so we'll take whatever we can get. I love his philosophy on the ethics of being a butcher, you know, and man, there's not a lot of people I think that care that much about taking care of the animal, and I think it shows when you eat at his restaurant. The amount of care and attention to detail really shows through. Is that something you?
he uses, all the animal as all the legit people over here do, from snout to tail, or some in Mississippi say rooter to the tutor.
It was just really cool, and like you said, he and Kim's relationship is very sweet. You can tell they've done that before, and man, I didn't feel like there was a language barrier at all. That's what was so cool. It was like, wow, this is just incredible access. So I still can't believe it.
And we covered it in the podcast, but he's such an excellent restaurateur. He's known as a butcher, but just as someone who studies restaurants, what he has there and how he operates is just brilliant. For anybody that knows the ins and outs of restaurants, that would go in there and see how the seatings work and how the menu works, and it's great. So he deserves all the success he gets. He is a hard-working person. He hates not to be there. When he goes out of town, and he travels a good bit all over the world, really, he's ready to get back. He does quick turnarounds when he does events.
And they had just traveled to Miami, and they were on like a 10-day trip. And the day they got back, they're like, "Yeah, we'll shoot with you." And we didn't eat because it was kind of in mid-afternoon, but we ended up eating afterwards at his restaurant. It was delicious.
They weren't going to let us leave without feeding us.
Oh, and then we got some of his signature salt mix. You know, he gifted us. I still put that on everything.
It's good.
It was really cool.
I eat, you know, when I'm watching a football game or something, instead of eating chips or whatever, I just have olive oil and seasoned salt like that and carrots. It's good.
Oh, that's a good call. I have to try that. But yeah, definitely a pinch me moment. I hope people enjoyed. And yeah, we're in the double digits now. Number 10.
Yay!
So it's pretty good. Pretty good. Well, I think we should keep going.
I think so too. Let's head to Nashville and Chicago.
Make sure you share with a friend, like, subscribe, help the show keep growing. We appreciate you.
Onward.